Wes, not sure, Brando in the chat said it's Wednesday already or Wesday already, and I was like thinking the exact same thing this morning. I was sending you a message on Discord saying, like, hey, here's a few things that we should think about for the show today. In my head, I was just like, fuck, how could it possibly be Wednesday again? We were literally just talking about your hip last week.
Yeah, life's cruel joke, right? The more time passes, the faster it passes. And you're right, dude. These weeks go by like days sometimes, more often than not, actually. But yeah, here we are again, man. It seems like we just spoke, right?
Yeah, here we are again. I mean, dude, we better start this show because it's going to be next week before you know it.
Yeah, you're not lying. Which, bright side, like State of Play is going to be in like 5 minutes.
Whoa, yeah, dude. Let's start the show. I want to talk about State of Play. Ready?
Please. Yep.
Let's go. This is PSVR GameScast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wesday, and 2 Eyes Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live 6 p.m. Eastern for your viewing pleasure, but we also care about your oral pleasure. That's why we put this up on podcast services of your choice. Shout out to all the listeners out there. Some people listen with their eyes. Some people with their balls. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here with Parole, and this guy over here to my left, your right, Wes Dillon from our friendly neighborhood channel, Virtual Strangers. What's happening, Wes? How you doing?
I'm doing well, other than the fact that I'm sitting here winking at the audio listeners as if they heard my eye shut, right? Like, shout out to my homies out there, my in-verbal shout out to the audio listeners. Other than that, man, good, man. As usual, fresh out of a headset and in the chair, trying to get my bearings about me a little bit, but as always, happy to be here. Happy to spend a little time with you and the cats.
Yeah, I mean, what a great day to be spending time with me and the cats. Like, dude, some days I go, how for the last however many years, 5 years, whatever it's been, how for the last 5 years have we managed to do 3 shows a week about PlayStation VR, PlayStation VR2? Right? It's insane to me that we've had this much to talk about. And even on days we don't have that much to talk about, we have this great community. We show up and people want us to talk about things. It's amazing. But then we have days like today where you would think this is the amount of news we'd need rolling in almost daily in order to do 3 shows a week. But here we are. It actually feels appropriate today. What an exciting day.
Yeah. We did it right, or you did it right. I guess I should say, bringing me in at the end of the PSVR1 era, right? Because that last 2 years was slow going, man. Yeah. But we made it through 3 shows a week most of the time, just talking about whatever happened. And to be honest, like, I'm sure today's show was going to be great. I probably shouldn't say that, knock on wood, but I'm sure today's show will be great. But the ones where we don't have strong news, a lot of those end up being some of our better episodes because of the chat kind of giving us a little bit of direction, and then we run with it, right? So, no, we have a good rapport, you and I, and of course the cats always have interesting shit for us to talk about. So yeah, you're right. It's amazing that we're able to pull it off. But it's just as much them as it is us, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Nick in the chat says the weird thing is that we can hear you wink, Wes. Been meaning to ask you about that.
You can't hear half the shit I say, especially during the 4-minute challenge, but you hear my winks, right?
Right. Maybe you just need to drink more water. You're like, this is a sign of being dehydrated when you can hear the blinks. That's how I'm imagining it anyway. Oh man, we got some tips. Let's right off the bat. We got $1 from Andrew Ehrenreich. Sends a little smiley emoji with some sunglasses. Thank you, Andrew Ehrenreich. Andrew Ehrenreich's actually ahead of me on his Wanderer playthrough, and he's sending me videos and screenshots of things he's encountering that I am then forwarding to the Wanderer team, hoping that they can fix it before I get to that point in Wanderer. So some issues here and there.
So it's all selfish, right? Like fix it for me.
Yeah. Hey, I waited a year to play your game. Can you knock out these few remaining bugs before we before I finish it up? Silver Nexus with the $10 says, Brian, if you ever end this podcast with no warning, cold turkey, please maintain the Discord. This is my favorite podcast, and I want a shock when it ends. Damn it! Keep it going though. Great show. If you ever end this podcast with here's the fun part. The fun part is that, like, no matter what happens without Parole, right? Like if I can't, keep it going financially, or like if I just can't do it full time, like I'm trying to do now, I don't think this show's ever going away. It's gone through many iterations over the past however many years, but I don't think this show's ever going away. Like this is my favorite time of the week. Get to hang out with you guys, talk about my favorite things, talk with my favorite people, and it's fairly low effort. We do today. We spent a lot of time preparing, playing some games in order so we could talk about them. But for the most part, man, like I do think this is the thing that no matter what, you'll always have this to come to. That's the hope anyway. Fingers crossed. Nothing. Now that I've said it, something awful is going to happen.
Well, I don't think. I think the worst thing that's going to happen, again, knock on wood, is that maybe Brian ends up deciding to take employment somewhere, and then not have as much free time. But I still think, even at that, you'd probably do one a week, one every other week, just as a hobby, right? To stay in touch with the cats and like the comment said, keep it going.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing it less than once a week. That's all. And then it'd be like the old days. We get all the co-hosts here on screen together. It's a 3-hour extravaganza, which used to sound like a lot, but most weeks it's 2 hours anyway. And so we do 2 hours 3 times a week. So, 3 hours used to be way more of a long haul when it was me, AJ, and Dave. Like we'd get 3.5, 4 hours sometimes. So anyway, thanks for the love, Silver Nexus. I appreciate that. This is something you look forward to, that you like. As I said at the beginning of the show, Wes, there is a state of play happening tomorrow. Me and Jamie are gonna stream that live right here. We're gonna start about a half an hour ahead of time so we can do some pre-show predictions. But you're not gonna be here for that. So you got any pre-show predictions for us? Possibly.
Well, I predict that Brian's predictions will not be. Well, you know what? I was going to say they won't be RE9 or Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic VR, because we've had word on those two. But I do think that you're probably still going to predict RE9 tomorrow during the pre-show. Anyway, no, I don't. I don't have any solid prediction here. I do think that we'll see some VR tomorrow. This thing's like an hour long. Am I right about that?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. So I think they will throw us a bone or two tomorrow. The question is it going to be like 1 to 2 games, but like huge headline, or is it going to be like 4 games that are just small indie stuff that looks cool, but okay, whatever. And to be honest, I prefer the former. I want give me one banger over 3 or 4 standard fare titles. We talked about this a little bit last week. Like those are the games I want. I want the Wanderers, right? Over the more casual stuff that we're used to getting in VR. But what will that one banger be? If it's not RE9, I have no clue what it could be. Half-Life Alyx? I guess we haven't chose that one in a while. We could say Half-Life Alyx. I don't know. I have no clue. And I think it's a good thing, honestly. I'm here to be surprised.
Yeah, there's I think I'm with you. I think I would much rather hear about like one banger, one AAA game, but I think that the fact that the runtime is so long that it is going to be an hour long, I think it's at 60 plus minutes. I feel like I feel like this is a chance for them to satisfy everybody, and so for everyone who's been like, Sony, what have you been working on? Like, what the hell has been going on behind the scenes? You need to tell us. Like, let's please reveal some first party stuff. And then for all of us out here in the PSVR2 world, we want some PSVR2 announcements. And so if they don't, normally we shoot for 2 games, right? 2 seems to be kind of the standard. It's like 2 PSVR2 games, and then everybody's happy. But that's during a 30-minute showcase or 30-minute state of play. With a 60-minute state of play, you're opening up the options a little bit, right? I think you're allowing for a little bit more filler, a little bit more, a few extra games, right? Some that might not wow you, and I do think, I honestly do think that I don't know this for certain, obviously, but Sony seems like they were helping to fund Secret of the Mimic VR. It felt like that was very much a thing that they were invested in, to get revealed on a state of play but on PlayStation blog posts. It seems like they're very much connected to that. So even though we did get news about Secret of the Mimic today that we'll be talking about later in the show, I feel like that could definitely still be there, right? And maybe show us some gameplay footage of it or something along those lines. Who knows? Maybe even give us an exact release date. So I do think that's a possibility. I'm 50-50 on Resident Evil Requiem right now. But my favorite prediction about tomorrow's show, Wes, is from our moderator, Rypop, right? Rypop thinks that maybe with this longer runtime, it's possible we could see them do something like old school, like the early 2016, 2017 state of plays, where they give us like a minute-long sizzle reel with like game after game after game after game. Maybe not a ton of bangers, right? But just, to let people know that the quantity is coming, and that if you have a PSVR2, you'll have no shortage of games on the way, right? Think about the games that we've been announced recently, like Extra Dimensional looks so cool. Automa looks so cool. Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 looks so cool. There's just so many of those games that could absolutely be like, man, look at this. Here's a wide breadth of a good variety of games that are all on the way. I would love to see that, and then maybe follow that up with like, oh, and by the way, Resident Evil Requiem, right? So here's your quantity, and then here's your fucking quality.
We're due a first party title, man. We haven't gotten one since launch, and we're years in now. So, like, I know that a year or maybe a little longer ago, there were seemingly there were rumors from a seemingly reliable source that there were 2 first party VR games in development by Sony Studios. So maybe we get one of those tomorrow. It's time. I think it seems like if we're ever going to get one, now's the time for us to get one, right? So that's what I'm hoping for, whether it be like Wipeout or whatever, man. I'm thinking we could get a big announcement tomorrow, and I'm very hopeful that we do.
It's been so long since those announcements or those rumors or the leaks or whatever you want to call them, that I'd sort of just put them out of my mind and said, I don't totally trust the sources on this stuff. It made me a little bit curious as to what they were even calling first party stuff, right? Is it stuff that like Synapse that was paid for by Sony, but it was not done by a first party studio, right? So I think there were a lot of question marks surrounding that, and it would be awesome if we found out that that was all legit, and then that there are actually first party games in development. That'd be crazy. I love it because people compare the PSVR2 to the Vita all the time, and I do see the similarities. Like, it's not, we make fun of that comparison, but it's not without merit. There's even the Vita had kind of mid-gen first party support. Like Killzone Mercenary is still my favorite game on the Vita. That was a fantastic game, and so it's not outside the realm of possibility that they've had some games in development that they're just kind of pushing toward the finish line here. That would be really cool to see.
And for those of you who, well, I guess probably there wouldn't be many of these people in our audience, but in case there are one or two of you out there that aren't speaking, that does think that PSVR2 is this generation's Vita, I would point out long term, Sony's they're going back to that model, right? There's going to be a handheld next gen. So, not to be like doom and gloom about it, but maybe even if there's not like a new PSVR next gen to go with PS6, That don't mean there won't be one the following gen when VR is radically different in terms of hardware than it is right now. So yeah, I think Vita was to some extent a product before its time, and and the market is certainly proving that out. And maybe VR is a product before its time, even though there are those of us that absolutely love it and it completely transformed our lives. We're waiting for the market to catch up with us, right?
That's right. Osa Nicolas with the $5. I have no idea if I said that right. Said, a long-time listener, first-time tipper. Thank you so much. Says, love the show. Excited for some state of play news tomorrow. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Having a day that's filled with news like today, and then knowing that there's like more news within 24 hours, pretty good, man. Pretty good. It's going to be a long episode of PSVR this week. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it seems like when you get news like this ahead of state of play, it stands to reason that it's at least possible that this stuff could have been in state of play, but they chose not to, which makes you wonder what are they going with then? Like, we've been some pretty awesome stuff announced today, which we'll talk about shortly. But if that's just the appetizer and tomorrow's the main course, I really look forward to tomorrow.
We got 4 Aces Gamercat with the 6685. Where are the other 3 digits? Are you not giving me your phone number? Is that not what you're doing here? Sorry. He said, big win today for the Gamecat crew. Was going to spend the week compiling all the unanswered PSVR2 posts and requests that I could find and then post again on their Discord. So happy to wake up to this news instead. GG everyone. Let's dive into it, man. Like I kind of just want to get right into the biggest news. I think is what the thumbnail is, the title of the video, that Triangle Factory is bringing us Forefront, which is a game that a lot of people are excited about. What do you know about Forefront, Wes, while I bring up some trailers?
Forefront is an absolutely massive multiplayer versus multiplayer military shooter that is in early access right now on Quest and Steam. And people are absolutely raving about it, not only because of the absolutely massive size. Like, I think, is it 32 v32 or something crazy like that?
I think it's 32 total. I think it's 16 v16.
32 total. 16 v. Still, that's huge. Right. I mean, but there are like breaching mechanics that they're taking from their previous game. There are vehicles that you can control in it. There's a lot of stuff in this game, even at its early state, and it's still being built upon. It's kind of that next gen VR shooter that a lot of people have been waiting for on PlayStation VR2. Our voices have been heard. A lot of people spoke up regarding this title in the early days when it was announced, and since, and as has been the case time and again, developers are saying, "Hey, we hear you, and yes, it's coming." So yeah, big news, good news, and good work, everyone.
I like that's how they're advertising this too, right? The PSVR2 announcement, they put out this teaser that you're seeing right here, and it's just they're just showing all of these different comments, on the screen from people who have been asking for it, and it is proof that what we're doing works. This was a little bit before Gamecat Ops, right? But we have been telling people this whole time, like, hey, just absolutely make your voice heard. And people went out in force. They made their voice heard. And then we did a second round of it, like when we launched Gamecat Ops. It's like, dude, looking at the list of Gamecat Ops we have over on Discord right now, and seeing that, like, they're kind of just being checked off one by one, right? And things seem like they're going in a very good direction. It sounds like that when we get organized and when people tell these developers that we really want to play their game, the developers go, well, then fuck, we'll bring it over. That's awesome. So this is a win. This is I'm not going to fully credit Gamecat Ops, but also maybe I should be. Maybe I should be crediting Gamecat Ops, because the announcement that they dropped today said, you read that right, Forefront's officially coming to PSVR 2 later this year, right? So it's not like it's like deep in development. That's my guess, right? So this could have very well started, the decision could have been made like just literally in the last couple of weeks after we started the Gamecat Ops. They said in wishlist are now live over on the PlayStation Store. The PSVR2 version of Forefront aims to take full advantage of the platform's hardware, bring some of the PC VR improvements we have planned to the headset as well. We don't have a release date quite yet. We'll reveal that when the time is right. Wes, I'm going to drop a link in the chat, and I want let's show these guys that they made the right decision. Let's show them that they made the right decision. I'll drop the link to the wish list, this PlayStation Store page in the chat, and we can all go over there and wishlist it together. Let them know they made the right decision.
Absolutely. And what you're saying about this game it's not like the game's been around forever, and now they're deciding to bring it in to PlayStation VR2 because there's nothing else for them to do. This game's in early access. It has not been on the other platforms but for like 3 months or something like that. This game literally just dropped into early access, and they're already announcing PSVR2 support's coming. So that's huge. I would imagine that I don't know when they plan to bring it out into full release on the other platforms, but I imagine by that point we'll have it on PSVR2 as well.
Four Aces Gamercast says, sorry, he says, I find it hard to it's hard to discount the Gamecat Ops efforts when they replied directly to us on Blue Sky with this announcement. Very good point.
Yeah, no, it absolutely has a lot to do with it. I mean, that was the announcement, is like literally them pasting comment after comment after comment on the video. But no, what Brian says here is correct, and I've talked about this a few times on Virtual Strangers. Maybe I have here too, but in case you all don't know, there is nothing that you can do ahead of a game launching that is more impactful than wishlisting a game. Wishlisting the game lets the platform holder know that this is something that people are interested in, and in turn what they do is give it preferential placement on whatever digital store you're talking about, be it PlayStation or Steam or Meta. So the more people that we can get in there and wishlisting this thing, the more people will become aware of it, and which ultimately leads, better store placement leads to more sales, and more sales leads to more games coming to PSVR2. And we're talking about an action that takes all of 5 seconds, right? Click the link, click the button, you're done. Such a small thing for us, and it's absolutely huge for the developers. That's why every social post you see, every trailer that you see, anything that comes to us from these studios is pretty much begging us to please wishlist the game. That's why. It actually is a huge thing. I had no idea how important it was before I started working for Impact and Flat to VR. So yeah, if you all wouldn't mind, click the link in the chat, and let's all go wishlist this thing right now and let them know that they're not going to be sorry for deciding to bring their game to our platform.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, honestly, even you might think that like, oh, well, I shouldn't wishlist it if I'm not going to buy it. And I think you should wishlist it even if you're not going to buy it, right? Because guess what? When we're all working toward a game that we don't, for you, that we don't want to buy, I'm going to wishlist it anyway because of everything that Wes has said throughout the last year, explaining this to us, talking about how much it helps developers in terms of just getting it out there in front of other people who might want to buy it, right? And then if it's sitting on your wish list and then one day it drops to $10 and you're like, oh shit, I heard that was really good. Maybe I'll grab it. It's still sitting there. You get the alert that it's on sale, right? So it helps you out in the future, and it helps the developers out, the entire time. So, and that's as much as, we're consumer centric here on Without Parole. Like we've talked recently on the show about how I think we have to treat VR developers a little bit differently than flat screen developers, right? They're making a VR game because they love VR, right? And it's usually 5 people working tirelessly around the clock for years and years trying to get these games to us when they could just, and then their potential audience is very, very small, right? They could have an audience of 100 million people rather than 2 million people, right? But instead they made games for us, and they are, busting their butt for the love of VR. So I think we do need to treat some of these developers a little bit differently. And when we have the opportunity to help them out like this, I think we should, especially when it doesn't cost us anything.
Yeah. Versus multiplayer is not my genre. Like this game looks cool, and I will be playing it when it comes to PSVR2, but I haven't played it yet. That's because when I play multiplayer, I prefer to play co-op multiplayer, which I guess this kind of is, right? Like you're teaming up with your friends to take on others. So I'm sure it's great. But I'm going to wishlist it, even though it's not my top genre. I'm going to wishlist it now, and I'm hoping that those of you out there that absolutely hate horror walking sims, when we get the next great horror walking sim on PSVR 2, that you'll join me in wishlisting it, even if you have no intention of buying it.
Yep, absolutely agree. And by the way, as neither Wes or I have played Forefront, and so I had to do a little bit of research, and I went over to our friend Jammy Hero's YouTube channel, and he has a couple videos on Forefront. He played 3 months ago in the beta. It was talking about how it's one of the best VR games, or best first-person shooters in VR. As you probably know this already, Jammy loves Battlefield, and he just couldn't stop with the Battlefield comparisons. Right, he says Forefront's Battlefield in VR with the same push and pull, the same pacing. The vehicles, the ATVs, and the helicopters. There was one clip of Jamie shooting the pilot of a helicopter that was flying overhead, and it wasn't high enough off the ground where the helicopter crashed into the ground. It just kind of like came to the ground and sort of stumbled and landed, and then there was this mad dash rush for the two teams to claim the helicopter, right? Because in this game, you can actually just get in there and take it and take off and use it as part of your team. It's shooting people from above the ground. It seems like there's a lot of these different moments. I saw him loading up ATVs with C4 to smash into buildings. I mean, there was some really cool looking moments. He also said that that the maps are huge. And I saw a little bit of that in his videos. He said with a couple of them being even bigger than maps in Battlefield 6. He said the gunplay is better than Breachers, and he couldn't say enough about how great this would be on PSVR 2 with the adaptive trigger support and the better haptics, the headset haptics, that kind of stuff. So I definitely think his video made me even more excited about it than I would have been normally. So you guys should check that out.
Yeah. This appears to be the evolution of a popular genre in VR. We saw something similar last year when Contractor Showdown came out on the other platforms. It took that with the exfil mode, right? So it took that popular Ghost of Tabor loop that everyone had been raving about the previous 2 years and improved upon it and made it even better in Contractor Showdown, which is nuts because Contractor Showdown already was kind of an evolution of the Battle Royale in VR. So excellent title that hopefully we can make some noise for and get it over into PSVR over the next year or two as well. Anyway, this is similar type of evolution. Like we've seen large scale versus multiplayer military shooters before, but they've all been rather basic, right? It's all been up until now is pretty much about just being able to shoot guns in VR, kind of that Gen 1 wow factor. But now that everyone's shot a million guns in VR, we need something more. So along comes this game that has people vying to get in all of these different vehicles and such, and like we said, there's a lot of cool things that Breachers did that only Breachers had done up until that point, and they're bringing a lot of those mechanics in as well, and on just a massive scale. So it looks really cool. It looks really fun, and like you, the only reviews that I've heard from reputable reviewers has been just glowing. Everyone seems to absolutely love this title. So be excited. Yeah, I think is the moral of the story.
Yeah, be excited. And if you want to be part of, getting these games to PSVR 2, if you want to be part of the movement, this is just another reminder to join our Discord because, Wes just brought up Contractor Showdown. That's another game that's in our list of active Gamecat Ops that we're trying to get over there. So every single voice matters. It's always funny to me, Wes, like there's got to be a tipping point. You ever think about this, that like if Capcom hears 700 people on a PlayStation blog post say, please bring this to PSVR2, right? They go, 700, whatever. But what about 800? What about 900? What about 1,000? What about 1,500? What about 2,000? At what point do you go, shit, man, there's a lot of fucking comments. We got to do this. like, what is the tipping point? Like, what's the number? And obviously for some of these smaller studios like Triangle Factory, that number is really small, right? You get 100 people saying it. They're like, oh, there's some demand over there. There's some demand over there. I want to know what the number is for somebody like Capcom, but even more importantly, I want to know what the number is for Tarsier Studios, because we need to. Listen. Remember when we got 750 people all commenting on the PlayStation blog post for Resident Evil Requiem, right? And we looked at all the other blog posts, and there was like 2, 3, 4, 5 comments max. And then we bombarded the PlayStation blog and got 750 comments. Well, guys, it's time to do that again. And trust me, there's definitely some places we should be doing it for Requiem, but I think we should be doing it for Reanimal, because Reanimal is coming our way. It's out in like 2 more days, I think, on PlayStation 5, and we need to. Here, where the hell is that link? We need to tell these guys that we want this in VR. People have been asking for more third person games in VR. Games where it just works the same, right? It just literally works the same as it does on the flat screen, but you get to experience it in VR. And I think Reanimal, which if you guys don't know, most of you do because you watch every episode of this show, but most of you guys know that Tarsier is the developers of Static on PSVR1, awesome puzzle game where your hands are trapped in the box, so they have VR experience, but they were also the developers of Little Nightmares 1 and 2 before it got taken out of their hands over at THQ. And so Reanimal is essentially their own Little Nightmares. So here, I'm going to put the link again right here in the chat. And guys, let's flood this place, right? Let's get a couple hundred comments of everybody talking about how they want Reanimal on PSVR2. And these are the small victories that I think we can get fairly, maybe big victories we can get fairly easily, right? Because we're not asking for a revamped control scheme. We're not asking for first person. We're saying, hey, check a box and let us play this in VR. I don't care if it's with the fucking DualSense controller. You don't even have to map it to the Sense controllers. Just let us play this in VR, right? So I dropped the link in the chat, and look at that. Look what we already got. So I got the one on the bottom here. I said Reanimal would be so much creepier in PSVR2 support. Same perspective, same controls. Just let us experience the world in VR. Not sure Brondo says I played the demo of Reanimal on PC with UE VR. This is great. This is giving the perspective of somebody, hey, I played your game in VR already, right? That's a great perspective to give to the studio. This badly needs a proper PSVR2 version. We got Cussman out here. Did you know that? Do you know where Cussman's name comes from? I just assumed.
No.
His name was like Wes Cussman or something like that. I was over there. No, you know what? It's obviously public knowledge because it's in his public profile. But I was just going to be like, do you know his name is? You know what? I'm just going to shut up. Because what if he doesn't want that public? I don't know. Anyway, so Cussman's out there, our Reddit star, saying, looking forward to play as the next co-op game for us after Split Fiction. Would be great if this could get PSVR2 support with the heavy emphasis on atmosphere. So 3 comments already, you guys, all asking for PSVR2 support, which I absolutely love.
Well, I just put my comment in and it's not posting for some reason. I want to know why.
It takes a minute. Like it usually looks like it accepted the comment, and then it doesn't actually pop up on the blog post for like a minute or 2. I don't know why that is.
Let the AI make sure I'm not saying anything about like Israel or something.
Maybe. Yeah. Make sure that we also need to make sure that the Brian Paul doesn't let you say anything about Israel. we haven't had these conversations off air. I don't know where this could lead.
You're absolutely right. Like even with these bigger games, like maybe 1,000 comments doesn't register with a Capcom. But what if every time they post something, there's 1,000 comments over 3 months, 6 months, a year? Guaranteed they're going to notice that, and they're going to at least recognize how passionate this player base is with regard to quality titles. And I got to imagine that Tarsier Studios, they're not going to be like Capcom, right? They're going to fall somewhere in between Capcom and Triangle Factory. And yeah, you're absolutely right, Brian. This is a studio that has VR development experience. And they have to be aware that people were playing Little Nightmares in VR, modded with a gamepad, and everyone loved it. Yep. They have to know that. So why wouldn't they?
They also have to know, Wes, that ever since Little Nightmares got taken out of their hands, got taken away from them by THQ, that Little Nightmares VR got announced. Right? How cool would it be to not only are they competing with their old studio, right? They're basically Reanimal is fighting is in competition with Little Nightmares 3, but how cool would it be if Reanimal was playable in VR and that was also competing against Little Nightmares VR, right? I say this with all due respect. I say with the flip of a switch to get in VR, they could suddenly have a brand new market. We know it's a little bit more complicated than that. We know there's more optimization involved. However, it's not like adding a new control scheme. It's not like when you try to get something in the first person or adding a coat inventory in Resident Evil Village, right? By comparison, this is very, very small amount of work for them to do. Also, dude, have you refreshed the page? Dude, you guys are amazing. Like, you guys are absolutely amazing. The number of comments just exploded.
Yeah, we're up to 23 on my screen. So way to go. Guys, keep it up. Let's see how many hundreds we can get on this thing by next Wesday.
I love it. The Shadow says, isn't this coming to PSVR2? Gra12 says, looks like this would be awesome on PSVR. Claimer says, PSVR2 support, please. Virtual Strangers says, bring this to PSVR2. Little Nightmares was great in VR with a controller. Tick that box. Let us play, please. Look at you guys. Look at you guys. Oh, I'm so proud. I'm so proud. This is beautiful. All right. This is what Gamecat Ops is all about, you guys. Using our voice and making a difference. Currently, their website says no VR support is planned. They say currently. These things can always change.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Saying there's a chance. We got Carbon TM with the level 2 membership. What's up, Andrew? Says, as is traditional, I shall predict that we see 3 PSVR2 games, with the headliner being a preview of... Oh, hold on a second. That didn't work. Flight Sim 2024 VR mode with a release date and stuff. Listen, I know... I don't think it's exciting for them to show games they've already showed. But that doesn't mean they won't. I do feel like Microsoft Flight Sim is such a big deal for so many people, and it will actually sell some headsets, that showing it again, this time showing VR implementation, showing what the game looks like in VR, right? And then also maybe giving us a release date for that patch. That would be, like I said, not as exciting as a new game, but it would still be a fantastic announcement during this show.
We're going to get an Aces of Thunder accolades trailer.
Maybe.
It's a joke. It's a joke, but not really.
Listen. Again, I'm just glad. Sirens on my end. I'm just glad that when they start showing these sizzle reels of, look at these awesome experiences that you can have on PSVR 2, right? That you can't get on Nintendo Switch, that you can't get on Xbox, right? That you can get on PC with a beefy machine, right? Look at us delivering premium AAA VR experiences at the most affordable fucking possible way, right? And we've been seeing, I will say this, Wes, we've been seeing random price drops again, right? Like price cuts, random sales on PSVR 2. And I think this would be a great time to announce, hey, we've slashed the price. We've slashed the price. It is a $300 headset now. Comes with Horizon. This would be a good time to do that.
How about a larger announcement for the PlayStation platform, fully launching a PC client that includes PSVR support as well, where you can pick the games up. You don't need a PlayStation console anymore to be a PlayStation gamer. I mean, things have been sliding in that direction for a few years anyway. Do you think maybe now's the time, or do you think that'll be in like a next generation move that they do?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't think now's the time, but who knows, man? Who knows? They are seeing massive sales on PC, and so that may accelerate them in that direction faster than expected. It's all possible.
Yeah. The only thing that complicates that in my mind is Steam. I think when they do it, though, they'll probably, I want to say they'll partner with Steam, but then again, like Epic Games, which is a big time Sony partner, they're trying to establish themselves as a Steam competitor. So I don't know. I don't know what direction it would go, but it's certainly interesting to think about.
King Rollo the Liberty Cat with the £5 says, I read that Resident Evil 5, 6, 7, 8 had PS5 Pro support removed last week. Do you think PSSR and PSSR2 is coming to it and PSVR2? And be in the showcase tomorrow. One love to all. Yeah, I did hear about Village not having its Pro support removed. I mean, that could have been anything. Right, that could have been absolutely anything. It literally could have been like, some bug with some update that made it unplayable, and that could have just been it. And like, within a couple of days it'll be fixed, and that'll be the end of the story. But yeah, I mean, with all the stuff about PSSR and PSSR2 being, all of this is coming to the forefront. All of this is, on its way. Who knows? Maybe they are doing something along those lines. But it would be great to see. It would be great to see them update Village for the Pro on PSVR2, right? That game looks stunning. If you haven't played Village recently, I guarantee you when you get back in there, you'll be like, is this better than the last time I played it? But having having it look somehow even better with like PSSR support would be phenomenal. So let's hope. That's all I can say is let's hope.
Yeah, it seems less likely if it really was all of those titles like 4, 5, 7, 8 or what have you. It seems less likely because that sounds like some kind of compatibility issue may have broke something within RE Engine, right? So they briefly have to pull it back, like you said, to fix something. Like if they're adding support for PSSR, you wouldn't think that they would have to roll back like support for other things just to roll that out. Like, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. But who knows? I do think that is a feature that most games are going to support within the next 1 year, 2 years. Most of the major titles on PlayStation will probably take advantage of that technology. Will that have any effect on the VR version, I think is the bigger question, and that I can't say.
Wes, we've got a ton of tips, and I just want to say thank you, everybody, for your generosity in keeping this channel running. But before we get to any more tips, I want to make sure we get to some of our other news stories. So I promise you we will get to them. Contrary to what one of my co-hosts said on Monday, I need to tell you guys something that's very, very important, and that's that Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic on PSVR2 has not been canceled. It is still coming. No shade, AJ. I love you. But I thought it was so fucking hilarious how... Uh-oh. Did AJ shut down my stream?
Suffering will. Everyone refresh.
No, I don't. I think when OBS shut down, it screwed up something on my end. So... how long have we been going? How long have we been going and them not knowing that?
So when you came back, we were taught it's at the top of Help Wanted or the Five Nights at Freddy's.
No way. Yeah. Yo, I thought that I was reading the chat. I saw it seemed like everybody was with us, and God, we missed a good chunk of this show.
Shit. Yeah.
Holy shit. This is fucking crazy. I'm so bummed. I don't think I've ever had just OBS just crash in the middle of a show before. And so when we came back, I didn't realize that we weren't still live.
So we need to find something out. Like, did some people refresh earlier and we were talking to them?
I don't think so.
Or not? Because what's going to happen here now, Brian, is if we're going to redo that whole thing, which we probably should.
Yep.
For the live people, when they come back and watch the replay, the part that most people didn't just see will be in the replay.
I don't think so.
So like, I mean, if it was one of those things where they just needed to refresh, did you have to do something on your end to make it live again?
Yeah, just now, and that's why we're back for everybody. And so I don't think that there's any instance of the last 5 minutes of this show anywhere. So
okay, so you didn't hit the button in OBS basically to start the stream back.
Exactly.
When we came back earlier.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, it won't be there then.
When it crashed, there was a window that popped up that said push this button to keep streaming, and we'll reset OBS. And I was like, oh, okay. Holy crap. Okay, listen, we got to backtrack. I am so sorry to everybody who I hope this doesn't mean we have to reread some tips. We have to go back to our last news story. Man, my apologies, Wes. My apologies, GameCats. But yeah, where we left off was that AJ shut down our stream because you guys, because he had said on Monday's show that he was convinced Secret of the Mimic was canned. It was canceled, not happening anymore, right? And and so anyway, I just love when AJ makes a prediction or anybody on the show makes a prediction, even myself, and it gets completely completely shot down, like literally within 48 hours. Right? We hadn't heard anything about Secret of the Mimic in the longest time, and then like literally 24 hours after AJ made his prediction, this popped up. And Steelwool Studios tweeted, 5 Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic VR is coming spring 2026. Now, Wes, what does this mean? I mean, I know easily that it means, it's probably coming in April, May, June, right? Sure. But it also says Secret of the Mimic VR. It doesn't even say PSVR2. So we can assume Sony funded this thing. We can assume it's still coming to PSVR2. But do you think this also means that it's coming to like Quest and Steam and everything now?
Well, since you mentioned it, that you're right. They didn't mention PSVR2 specifically in today's post. I think at the very least, it means that my assertion at the top of the show that this would not be in the tomorrow's State of Play is absolutely incorrect. It probably, almost certainly, will be in tomorrow's State of Play, and that's why they didn't mention the platform by name today. They'll probably drop a gameplay trailer tomorrow, PSVR gameplay trailer, and we may even get a release date tomorrow as well, which would be really cool. But no, you're very astute. I don't know that it means that the game is coming to Quest. In years past, I would say probably not. But maybe Quest 3 would be able to handle it, and maybe that would be worth their trouble to port it. I don't think so. I think Quest 3 exclusive games have not done very well in recent years, and we're seeing the fallout from that all the time. But I think it just basically confirms that the Steam players, the game's already on Steam for flat gamers. So those gamers are going to be able to play in VR2. It's not just PlayStation gamers. So yeah, I mean, that's what I take from it, is that we're likely to get more information tomorrow, and it's confirmed coming to Steam as well.
Yeah, I think tomorrow is going to be interesting. I think the conversation that got lost about this was that it definitely takes a little bit of wind out announcement tomorrow, because so many people have forgotten about this game completely. People have written it off, saying it's either not coming or they just completely forgot about it, right? And so for them to say this today, say, hey, don't forget our game's still in development for VR and it's got a release window, and then for tomorrow's state of play to be like Secret of the Mimic, PSVR2, it's like, yeah, guys, you just fucking said that yesterday, right? I think it takes a lot of wind out of their sails, and it's not it makes it less exciting. So that's what I am a little bit worried about with tomorrow's state of play, is that we're going to see Secret of the Mimic, we're going to see Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, we're going to see a bunch of games that have already been announced, right? Instead of like cool new announcements, which it's a little nerve-wracking.
Well, I mean, we could get both, right? Like, obviously, this would not have been a new announcement either way. Like, this was something that was previously announced. Now, I think what they're doing here by putting out this social post, which is what this was, just a social post, which is a message to people who are already following, people who are already interested, and then a smaller subset of those people who are interested in VR. And this is just a way to prime the field, right? Like they get a little bit of chatter going online, get people talking about it, get people paying attention. And that only kind of primes the field for tomorrow. Trailer drops, everyone's talking about it, and it essentially allows them to kickstart the algorithm, right? It helps them to trend by a day ahead of time, getting people watching, getting people talking about the title, and talking about it online, so that all of the AI algorithms out there can track that and recognize it as a trending topic before it really even starts trending tomorrow. So I think, for a few of us that are hyper enthusiasts that are watching every news story, it does kill the excitement a little bit. But for the majority of other people out there who don't have their finger on the pulse, this is only going to serve to reach more of those people, we'll say.
Yeah. And I am excited that this is coming in spring, right? Because 2025 showed us that, like, man, if you just start piling all of these games into fall in the same month, in September and October and November, titles are going to get lost in the shuffle, right? Even people who were excited about certain games were easily distracted by games that were on sale from the year before for $10, $20. And I think a lot of games got lost in the mix. And so while I think 2025 was one of the best years that PSVR2's had, and even VR's had, I think 2026 could be even better. And I think if they keep spacing things out and not feel the need to just put horror games out only in October or September and October, in that little time frame, I think we're going to have a much better year, and a lot of these games are going to see much better sales. Each game will get a little bit more of the spotlight that it deserves. It's really hard remembering everything we said the last time we did this, Wes.
Yeah, well, I think with this being a traditional studio that's kind of developing a hybrid game, it kind of gives them some freedom that VR developers don't really have. VR developers target that window at the end of the year because there's more people in headset. There's people getting headsets that didn't have them before. There's lots of sales. People are online shopping for the holiday. So that's prime time for VR developers to sell VR games. When you talk about a studio like this, VR is just kind of something extra for them. It's the cherry on top of the sundae. And they come with their own fan base, right? Like Five Nights at Freddy's is a big deal with legions and legions of fans. So they don't have to play those games, right? They can put their game out, in the middle of spring, and whether they're able to go on to their next project or not doesn't hinge upon how many VR copies of this game they sell. So you're right. Obviously, I love it when the calendar gets spread out more, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that window from August to November, that has been the busy time since the earliest days of PSVR 1, and I think it will continue to be the time in 2026.
Agreed. And listen, if if you like horror at all, just make sure you keep Secret of the Mimic on your radar. Again, this is another game that we really want to show support for, right? Let these studios know that they are doing the right thing. That like, oh, there's so much love for this kind of stuff over on PSVR2, and I know that a lot of people were turned off by Help Wanted 1 and 2, or Help Wanted, or any of the Five Nights at Freddy's games prior, right? Like, this is just like a bunch of mini games. This is more than that.
Yeah,
this is more than that. This is a full-fledged game. Yeah. So keep this on your radar, even if you weren't a fan of the previous games. If you like horror at all, keep this on your radar.
Yeah, this is the first one that I've actually that I'm looking forward to playing. Like the other ones, like I didn't want to play them at all, and I didn't play them for the longest time until I just absolutely had to for a show or something. But AJ in the chat says Rogue Incursion Part 2 is canceled. Resident Evil 9 PSVR 2 is canceled. Astrobot PSVR 2 is canceled. You're welcome, world.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect. Stay tuned for contrary announcements over the next 24 hours. I don't know what the last tip we read before we went off the air. But Carbon TM says, as is traditional, I shall predict that we see 3 PSVR 2 games, with the headliner being a preview of Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 VR mode with a release date and stuff. Again, I do think that Flight Sim 2024 being part of tomorrow's show would be great because we haven't seen any VR footage. Seeing VR gameplay would be great. I think it would sell some headsets, and yeah, it would be good. It's just not as exciting as something new. But again, it's a big deal. It's a very big deal, and I'm sure Sony's proud to show it off. Did we really talk? This is driving me insane. Were we offline that long? King Rollo the Liberty Cat with the 5 quid says, I read that Resident Evil Village had PS5 Pro support removes last week. Do you think PSSR or PSSR2? Guys in the chat, did we already fucking read this? I'm losing my shit right now. I can't.
Oh, we talked about it. I don't know if we were on air when we talked about it. But
exactly. That's what I'm concerned about. It's like we're just going to have the same conversation again for some people. Do you think PSSR or PSSR2 support is coming to it in PSVR 2 and be in the showcase tomorrow? One love to all. Yes, Old Darth says, that doesn't help. Scalpel Dog says, no, that also doesn't help. Okay, Kramer says, this part actually streamed. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. Thank you. Pietrek F with the 10 plantains says, tomorrow, Bloodborne 2, PSVR 2, no flat version. This would piss off a lot of people. But it might get people into it might get people into VR. I know he's joking, but I will say this led to a conversation that I think it was the last conversation we had right before we realized we weren't streaming. And that's this. So it was a moment in 2018 or 2017, whenever the fuck this announcement was, when we were watching State of Play and we saw the From Software logo pop up on the screen as a PSVR2 or PSVR in the corner. And we're like, what the hell is happening right now? Right. And then Derosine was announced. That was a moment, right? Where we're like, okay, this isn't a typical From Software game, but like we respect the fuck out of From Software. And so what is this Derosine thing? And I'm sort of mourning the loss of this time when you could have these big studios that were known for something big, and then off to the side they were able to make this kind of passion project, this pet project, this thing that was completely different than the thing that the studio's known for, right? And get something like Derosine, like a slow-paced, narrative-driven puzzle adventure game from the studios that brought us Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and I just wonder if those days will ever be back, Wes.
Yeah, they'll be back, but it'll be a while. It's gonna take a while, man. Like, we got those games in those early days of VR because the industry, the gaming industry as a whole, was kind of in on VR, and they were into investing in it, and everyone thought that it was going to be the next big thing, just because it was so awesome. The experience was so awesome, even back then. But those people overestimated people's willingness to spend $1,000 for a VR gaming setup. No matter which platform you were on, you had to spend $1,000 or more to have a decent experience. So as we all know, the industry has moved on, and we're firmly into the next phase now, where the big players they're still keeping their names in the hat. They're still staying in the game, so to speak, but they're no longer throwing money at it to kind of force it over the line, but rather now just kind of letting the market grow naturally. And when it finally does take off, they'll be in a prime position to take advantage of it. So yes, one day the FromSofts out there will once again be able to justify bringing us these passion projects like Deracine. But we're not in that time now. We're going to be largely driven by indie games and hybrids for the foreseeable future, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, maybe we could see some of these type of games that you're talking about if they're a hybrid game, but none that are just built from the ground up for VR, not for some time. Although I will say if Bloodborne 2 turned out to be VR exclusive, I would absolutely love it, because it would force Roots to play VR yeah, because he loves Bloodborne.
Nice.
And he's not playing much VR these days. So for no other reason than that, I would love it.
Hell yeah. Yep. And I think that gets us caught up to where it works. I was about to read Silver Nexus, welcome to level 2 membership. Thank you so much for your generosity. And then that's when I realized, I was like, I don't think we're live. So I think we're all caught up now. Gamecat sent 10 without parole gift memberships. Thank you so much for your generosity. I saw the chat turning green even when we were off air. It's crazy. Old Darth with Canadian $5 says, with current market conditions, recent game announcements, and the upcoming 2026 PSVR2 releases, the PSVR2 is the most attractive VR headset to buy. Maybe. There are obvious estimations or estimates on how much the Steam frame is going to be, right, Wes?
Yeah, and actually, I think most people think now that it's been delayed because, I mean, Steam came out and said that it's still coming, like in the first quarter, first half of the year, or whatever. But it's obvious that all of that new Steam hardware that was announced recently is kind of on hold right now because of the increase of component prices right now, specifically RAM. So they're not announcing a launch date yet. They're not announcing the price quite yet for those reasons. But yeah, there's a lot of speculation out there, as there always is, but no one really knows at this point what it's going to be.
Yeah. Listen, when most of the places that are selling PSVR 2 are selling between $300 and $350, when so many people already have a PlayStation 5 or fewer people have a PS5 Pro, right? It's just it makes, I think it's the most sense. It makes the most sense to get a PSVR 2. If you already have a PlayStation 5 and you're like, should I get a PSVR 2 headset or should I buy a Quest 3? I'm like, well, if you already have the PS5, definitely the PSVR 2, right? Without the PS5, we can have a whole nother conversation about this stuff, right? Or if you're thinking about getting into VR and you're like, should I buy a $2,000 PC or a PS5 and a PSVR 2 headset? I'm like, oh, I think that's also an easy answer, right? Especially, I guess I saw that look. I guess it depends on what you want to do with that PC.
Right.
However, when we talk about games like Aces of Thunder, right, requires some like really powerful hardware in order for it to run, and then AJ is out there saying this runs better on PlayStation 5 than it does on a powerful PC. Right? I think we're going to see that again for Bootstrap Island when we finally get that, because that requires a pretty powerful PC to run properly. Right? I think we're going to just keep seeing this again and again, and that is why consoles have always been more attractive than PCs, because these developers are optimizing for one set of specs, and and again with DFR, the ability to only render a certain part of the screen at high res, I think it just allows people to optimize that much better, that much easier. So at least for the rest of this generation, I think PSVR 2 is where it's at, personally.
I think the answer to this question varies from individual to individual. It's so different for everyone. Not only depending upon, what hardware you already have, like Brian mentioned, but what your level of technical knowledge is as well. Like if you're someone who doesn't know much about computers, then the console experience is most likely the one for you. And if you're stacking Quest versus PSVR2 and a PlayStation 5, like standalone VR versus console VR wins 10 times out of 10 with that in terms of the quality of the games and the selection of games. PSVR2 is where it's at. The only exception to that is like if you have a high-end beefy computer and you know how to use it. And the only reason that is an outlier is because even stacking the PSVR2 library versus the Steam VR library, PSVR2 has a lot more like current titles and stuff in it. Steam VR library is awesome. It's a bigger library. It has a lot of great Gen 1 titles in it. That's where Sony really dropped the ball, was not bringing their Gen 1 titles into PSVR 2. But the PSVR 2 library versus Steam VR library is a more current library with a lot of current gen VR titles that Steam doesn't have. With that said, what Steam has that console doesn't is the ability to mod flat games and play them in VR. But that's not for everyone. That's for people. It's very easy to do. But if you're a person like Brian that just doesn't want to fuck with it at all, then that's not for you. So yeah, it just depends on who you are. Quest is best for some people. PlayStation's best for some people. And then if you're on, if you're going to be using it with a PC, there's a whole other factor of a whole other list of factors that you have to take into consideration whether or not you should get a Quest, a PSVR 2, or something else. But that is a conversation for someplace else, not here. So I'll shut up now.
No. It's all good. All good. We got Scott, the PSVR Gamecat for Life with the level 1 membership, saying, got some Protus to play Aces and No Man's Sky coming. Yay. Protus looks good. Looks good. Are you familiar with this, Wes, right? Did we talk about this last Wednesday? Is that what this was from? Right?
We didn't talk about it, but I am familiar with the Protus is like Pro Tubes HOTAS attachment, right? It's not a proper HOTAS, but it is something to make your motion controller work and feel a lot more like a proper HOTAS.
Right. Basically attach the Sense controller onto a flight stick type device. So allows you to still have full motion controls without getting a HOTAS. But yeah, what I was seeing on, I think for people like Scott who are not from the US, it's a lot cheaper. I think it's $50 if you're over there in the UK or in the EU, but I think it's like something like $40 shipping to the US. And so it's like, so this cheap alternative to a HOTAS suddenly becomes the same price as a HOTAS. So just keep that in mind if you are buying from outside the US. But it looks very cool though. Looks very cool.
Yeah.
Darth Vader.
I think I paid. Sorry. I was just saying. I think I paid $80 for my Thrustmaster HOTAS over there on sale. But still, like,
yep.
You can't save. You're not going to save that much money if you're in North America.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts, but it's pointless. It looks very cool. Darth Vader, the Gamecat with the $5 says, "What's up, Vader? Hold on. Why won't that go away?" Says, "Forefront looks like so much fun. My dream state of play lineup would be Blade and Sorcery, Resident Evil 9, and a Hard Bullet. Hard Bullet's a name feel like I haven't heard in a while. Do I even have a
it's weird that these people are still talking about Hard Bullet. That game has its audience for sure, and people are pretty persistent in their enthusiasm for it. But unless the game's been updated tremendously since I last paid attention to it, it is pretty much a sandbox. It's Blade and Sorcery, but instead of the blades and sorcery, there's just a bunch of guns and explosives.
Gotcha.
So it's one of those games. You do get to be violent in some creative ways. I know people love that. But I've never been much for like sandbox games. I preferred more structure to the games I play.
Yep. You and I are in the same boat, definitely.
What's the other one? There's a game being developed started as a mod. It's like one of those John Wick type shooters. Somebody in the chat will know what I'm talking about. That would be a good one to get coming over to PSVR2. Oh, shit, I wish I could remember the name of it.
It was the one that made in the Alex engine, right?
That's right. It was a Half-Life Alex mod.
Right, because when I initially heard Hard Bullet in my head, I thought of the other game. Forgot what it's called. Somebody in the chat's gonna help us out. Gunman Contracts.
Gunman Contracts. Shit. Yep. Thank you, Looper.
That was the name in my head. Why didn't I say it? I was thinking, no, it's something else. Thank you, Looper. Looper's always got us covered. Hey, we'll have good news about Blades and Sorcery soon enough, I think. The devs got in touch with me after that last update and just being like, hey, you want to have a chat? And I was like, all right. So we had a chat. Hopefully I steered him in the right direction. Necrophagic with the $10 tip says, hold on a second, I can read this, can I? Reminder that making your voice heard is only half the battle. It's important that we follow it up with sales. If the sales don't match with demand, it will make developers gun shy on future projects. It's very true. It's very true. But again, it's all don't forget that when we ask you to wish list games that you're not going to buy, that's okay. Because that wish listing will get it front and center in the store, recommend it to other PSVR2 gamers, and recommend it to other people who are interested in it that might not hear about the game otherwise, right? And so do not feel bad if you're wish listing a game that you're not going to buy. You are helping the developers, and you are helping with sales. So 100% agree, Necrophagic. If there's a game coming that you've been begging for, and you're like, you're out there in full force being like, please, please, please bring this over to PSVR2. We can't wait. And then it comes over and it launches at $30. Please don't be like, well, I'll wait until it's $10, right? Like if it's a game that you're passionate about and that you've been, preaching about and begging for, those are the games we want you to support, like if possible on day one, right? I never want to tell people how to spend their money, but if you're being vocal about it because you really want it.
I will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah? You can tell my husband.
No, I will tell. I will tell people this. You're absolutely right. Everyone should be out there wish listing to support games coming, especially games coming to PSVR 2. We're trying to create a movement to bring more games over, right? So you should be out there wish listing everything that's not like shovelware. Should you buy it on day one? No, not every game. If you're not super passionate about it, you should absolutely wait until it goes on sale. Like Hedonistic Ritual in the chat said that they just bought Dead Second for $349. A great game and a great price for it. Now, a great price for it if you're a consumer. Not a great price for it if you're the person selling it. And VR, this is a large problem for the VR space. It's a competitive market already. Mm-hmm. A lot of studios going out of business because they can't afford to stay open. And a big part of that is a lot of people don't pay full price for games. We spent 20 minutes on the show last week just going down the line listing banger after banger after banger, and most of them you could pick up for $10 or less. If you're a struggling independent VR developer trying to bring a new game into the market, that is impossible to compete with. It's impossible to compete with. So if you're like us, ultra enthusiast type, people that know every game that comes out and when it's coming out, people that play all the games, you should, if you can, well, obviously not everyone can, but if you can afford to pay full price for a game, you need to. We have to break this cycle somehow. Because what it does is it not only forces studios to go out of business because they're not selling games, but even the bigger studios that won't necessarily go out of business, they have to undersell, right? That they have to take a game that probably should be a $40 game, but they know that no one's going to pay $40 for it. They have to price it at $29.99 or $24.99 and short sell it right off the top, because they know that most gamers aren't even going to consider it if it's not somewhat close to the sale prices of the Gen 1 classics. So this is a huge problem. And for those of you out there who care about the industry and keeping it alive and keeping studios making games, and you want to support, you don't have to buy every game that you wish list, but the ones that you actually want, you should buy them when they launch, assuming that they're not broken and that they review well and that the game's in a good state. You should reward those developers by buying the game at the price that they ask you to pay for it.
Yep. Oh man, there's Nick. That's the comment I was looking for. Nick Martin in the chat said the number one reason I won't buy a game full price is because it's digital. Listen, man, I held on to the physical dream for as long as I possibly could. Right? We're just not getting physical games. The reason VR can thrive even as much as it is, which is a fucking strange word to pick, is because of being able to self-publish on Steam, being able to self-publish on consoles, right? When you do a physical release, you need a publisher, right? You need a publisher, and you know how much the publisher is going to take of that physical sale? Like fucking all of it, dude. The number of people I've heard that have worked with like Limited Run or other publishers and like never saw a single penny from all the physical sales, right? Because there's just too much other shit that gets in the way. Who needs a cut? Amazon needs a cut. GameStop needs a cut, right? The people that shipped it, you know, they're getting paid. The people that actually print the disc and package it, and the publishers, all of these people get their cut before the developer gets their cut, right? And so I love physical games. And today we get the announcement that Metro Awakening is getting a physical game, a physical version. But the actual developers, the people who work on the game, the studio themselves are making jack shit from that. They really are. They're getting the smallest cut piece of the pie, and they get a much, much larger slice of the pie, like almost 70%, ignoring taxes, when you buy the digital version. So I'm 100% with you. I had a massive physical collection at one point, and I love physical games. But that's the worst way to support a developer. I hate to be the one that tells you.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm like you. I prefer physical versions. My first PS5 console was the disc version, but it's become apparent in this generation that physical's dead, and it's dead because the platform holders, they want it dead. They want to kill it. They want everything to be digital because it kills resale. It makes it so that everyone that buys a game has to buy a new game, and it makes it so that rental is not possible. Like GameFly, any stores, like there used to be stores where you could go rent games, that's dead. And the only reason that's dead is because the platform holders want a bigger piece of the pie. This is the only reason it's even still a thing is because they know still a significant enough amount of people out there want it that they will raise hell if they don't have it. But that's why now the disk drive is external. It's not part of the console anymore. Yep. And I don't think we'll ever see a PlayStation again that has it built in. I think you'll have to get it externally because they don't want it. Like PS5 Pro. If you want a Pro, you're not getting like a disc version, right? You're getting the digital by default. So yeah, it's dead because they killed it. And as time goes on, this is going to become even more and more true, unfortunately.
Yep, unfortunately, it's fighting a losing battle. Unfortunately. Right, you can support Limited Run and all these different physical publishers as much as you possibly can, and it's still such a small margin compared to the digital sales. So I hope all these physical publishers still. I hope they all stick around. I hope they stick around because I think it does make when you get a physical version of something, it makes it that much more special, right? But it's no longer the default way of getting games. It's now a, you know, it's like, oh, I bought myself a little present. Look at this thing that looks
there will
nice on my
continue
wall.
to it'll continue to be there will continue to be a market for it, but it's going to be primarily for collectors. Like I feel like to be successful selling physical games, everyone pretty much needs to be a deluxe edition, right? With like an art book, like maybe some other piece of merch that comes with it, so that there's a package you're getting, not just like the disc.
Bro, I consider.
They
I
don't even put the
consider.
games on the disc anymore. Like they sell cartridges and discs still, but it's just a key for you to plug into your console and then download the game from the internet.
Dude, I consider getting a manual in the box of deluxe edition these days. Jesus,
Yeah, for real.
they stopped doing that fucking 10 years ago, maybe longer. All right, listen. We go. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. We need to move on from it anyway. I was just going to keep harping on that shit. But
we do, and honestly, I would probably ditch the next news story because of how long this show is already going to be. But you and I both played this game today, and so I was like, oh, we don't want to waste it. So guys, again, please go to the Discord. Please join us over there. That is where the Gamecat Ops movement is happening. I've been getting emails and DMs on Twitter, all sorts of places. Been getting people going, hey, can you add this game to the Gamecat Ops list? And I was like, no, that's you guys. Because we have a whole channel for games that we want as part of the Gamecat Ops. So please join the Discord, go in there, add it, say it yourself. Say it yourself. Link to a trailer so that if people are unfamiliar with it, they know. And I got to tell you that because of the Game Cats, because of you guys, we found out about this game that literally came out yesterday called Crisol, Theater of Idols. And let me tell you something. So this is the flat screen footage. This is me playing it earlier. It's like $18, right? Developer saying it's like 10, 15 hour game, right? Very, very small studio. Very small studio. Dude, it feels like somebody played BioShock and then put like a Spanish twang on it, right? Like this. It's very, very impressive, especially for the price point, especially for such a small team. And the reason I brought up the Gamecat Ops before this, and the reason that we're even talking about a flat screen game, is because this is one of the few people we've reached out to and said, we would love to play your game on PSVR2. We'd love a VR version. Please make it happen. And every time he sees that comment, or whoever's in charge of their social media sees that comment, they always respond with, we would absolutely love to. We'd absolutely love to. Let's take care of the flat screen version first. And so that's why we were playing this today. And I got to tell you guys, I'm very impressed, and it has more style than most games that come our way. So from the atmosphere alone and the style alone, I was pretty impressed. But let me stop talking for a second. Wes, did you know anything about this game before I told you to play it?
Yeah, a little bit. I did notice it like a week or two ago. I didn't know it was coming so soon. But I'm part of the Bloomhouse Games Discord, so I think that's probably where I saw it at. They were probably announcing it on their over on their server. So I was slightly aware of it, and yeah, I thought it looked really cool, and a game that would be really cool in VR. And it's funny because I'm sure I didn't play as much of it as you did. Like I don't even think I've got an hour in it yet. I'm still in the very beginning of the game.
I did an hour. That's all I did. 1 hour on the dot.
But I agree with your sentiment here. That while I was playing it, it occurred to me, I had the thought that, okay, so this is like, this is a double A indie game. That's what it is. If this were a VR game, this is essentially what VR gamers would consider a AAA VR game. Like if this game came over into VR, from what I understand, it's about a 15-hour campaign or so. Like, while this is small potatoes to a traditional gamer, this is what we want. I want a 10 to 20-hour game that plays like this, has a beautiful, unique art style like this. And these are the type of games that I want. When you hear me on here talking about how I don't want casual indie games anymore, I want something more of substance. These are the games I'm talking about. But yeah, I don't think you've asked me about my impressions of the game, but my early
Please.
impressions echo echo everything that you just said. I'll just say that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's I did. I'm actually glad that we were getting to the same points in a very roundabout way, because that's exactly what I was feeling when I was playing this. I was like, we just don't get stuff like this in VR. We get, I constantly was comparing it in my head to something along the lines of like Vertigo games, and I already felt like stylistically and atmospherically that this is a step above, right? When we consider something like Metro Awakening, like, top tier VR gaming, and I was like picturing this in VR the whole time, wondering how they would handle this interaction or how they would handle this interaction. But fuck it, look at the fucking gun that's in my hand. What a cool ass looking gun. And the fact that one of the buttons is to actually exchange your blood for bullets. That's how the bullet system works, right? Talk about survival horror, right? You're actually literally exchanging health, your blood, for bullets. And I was just like, this would be so cool in VR to hold that gun up and pull like the adaptive trigger, maybe with the grip, in order to signify that you want to, do the exchange rather than fire the gun, or maybe just holding it up in the air will automatically let the game know, signal the game that you're not firing the weapon, right? That you want to sacrifice blood for bullets. Everything that I was doing in this game, I was like, man, this would be so great in VR. This would be so great in VR, and just the environments are just littered with. You can see there's just shit everywhere. There's detail everywhere. It feels very lived in. It feels very realistic. And just the vibe of the entire game. The reason it reminds me of BioShock so much, like, isn't just like the noir style text that pops up. It's because it's the civilization that existed before you got there, and you're like, what the fuck happened before I showed up, right? And then shit goes from weird to fucking very strange very quickly. So I mean, listen, this is shot up to the top of my list, to the point where I don't want to play anymore. I played an hour and I was like, I want to stop, because if this does come to VR, I want to experience it in VR for the first time, right? And I just couldn't believe the price point. Like $18 for this game that is just, I think we would be looking at paying $40 in VR otherwise.
So, yeah, I'm really high on it as well. Most of it at this point is because of the art style and the world that you're in. Like, it's absolutely beautiful. I heard a lot of BioShock comparison and like the reviews that I read. Playing it, it reminded me more of like Lies of P than BioShock. But I'm guessing that when you get further along in the game, that there's going to be some gameplay mechanics that kind of call back BioShock a little bit more. The blood mechanic specifically, that's something I've seen in a VR game before, and I'm forgetting the name of the game. Of course, Looper's going to tell me what it is. But there was a Steam VR game in early access. It was a grapple action game. But that was very much the premise of that game is you collect your enemy's blood and you take it into your body, and then you use that blood to buy upgrades. You use it as ammo. There was a Quest version of the game too, but the Quest version was different than the PC version. And Looper's going to tell you the name in a moment when he catches up to where I'm at. But as far as my gameplay experience with this game specifically, I started playing it. It was a bit of shell shock for me because I don't play flat games, and I got like through about 10 minutes of it, and I hate playing flat games because you can't see, right? You're looking in a window.
Yeah.
All of the stuff that's outside the window, you can't just kind of look over and catch it. So it was driving me crazy. Everslot, thank you, Dan Kitty. Everslot's the game I was thinking of. So I got about 10 minutes through it, and I couldn't stand it. It was driving me crazy. So I went to the Flat to VR modding Discord and searched the title, and sure enough, the game is compatible with UEVR. So I plugged in my PSVR2 headset and I injected it with the most current profile that's available on there, and it was playable. in VR. They even have motion controller support on the profile, which I didn't start with. I started playing it with the gamepad, but when they give you the gun, there's a really big disconnect between what you see in the headset and what you see on the monitor. So at that point, I grabbed my motion controllers. They were just sitting on the desk in front of me, and immediately the gamepad switched over to the motion controllers, and I could shoot the gun, 6 DOF, and it was fun. Like, the action sequences were fun that I played through. The reload's a little bit slow because it is your blood, but the animations were fucking awesome. Whenever you would kill an enemy and they would kind of blow up in front of you, reloading the gun, all of the little animations that are just kind of an afterthought on the flat screen, they are really super cool looking in 3D in the headset. Beyond that, like, a lot of the interactions in the game were button presses, like to open a door, you'd like have to press it. Well, a lot of the doors you could walk through, but like to move something out of the way, you had to walk up to it and hold A. Obviously, like, a VR port would be better than the mod in those ways. Like, those interactions in an official port would be a lot better if you could just like grab things instead of using the button press. But for what it's worth, at least through the 45 minutes or so that I played of it as a VR game, it was fun. Hopefully it holds up. I expect it to. I think most of the reviews I read were very positive. But the one thing I will say is this absolutely beautiful in the headset, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it.
I saw, was it Tatum in the chat that's like, it's not BioShock, it's not. Which, listen,
I didn't see much BioShock in it either yet.
For me, it was all about a vibe, right? Like, it's all about, like, you know, like, who am I and what is this place, and like sort of the way it's presented to you, and then even like, you know, again, the civilization that seemed like it was having a pretty good time at one point before things went bad. That's about where the comparison stopped for me. But I'm so glad you brought up the VR stuff, and glad you were able to try it out in VR, because I had the exact same experience where it's like, I sat in front of my 50-inch plasma 1080p television from 15 years ago, and it was playing. It was like, immediately I had to put these shades down behind me because the sun was still out and it was reflecting on the TV, right? And then I realized that my vision's fucking terrible, and I had to squint in order to read the subtitles. And then I was like, it was just like all these problems that I don't have in VR, and then yeah, I think that we're actually to a point in my footage here where I just kind of trek back and forth in this area for a little bit, going, I don't know where the fuck to go, because there's this crevice in the wall right here that, like, I don't even see, because there's no depth. There's no 3D depth. If I was standing there and I could see that, like, oh, there's a path between these two things I'm to scrunch between, but I didn't see it because I'm playing on a flat screen TV, and 50 inches seems like a really small TV these days, especially when it's 7 feet away from you. Again, I'm old. My eyes are going. Everything seems like it's far away. So yeah. So again, one of the many, many reasons why I was like, this is going to be so much better in VR. So please, everybody, wish list this game. It's called Crisol Theater Vitals, and wish list it and be active. Again, go to our Discord. There are people getting organized in the Crisol channel, whatever it's called, and so let's all go and make sure now that the game is out, and what they're doing now is just kind of fixing some bugs and cleaning it up, and, you know, listening to player feedback, that kind of stuff. This is the time. I almost felt bad about kind of hounding these developers so much before launch, because I was like, they're just trying to fucking get the game out and have it be intact before it's out. Like, let's you know, especially when they're being so positive about, you know, our request for VR support. But yeah, now that the game is out, let's do it. Like, let's be very vocal about this, because I think, honestly, personally, I don't know where this game is going to go. I don't know what the next 10 to 15 hours has in store for me. But like, if it's anything like the first hour, Like this could easily be a top 10, top 15 game for me personally. Puts a lot of other VR games to shame, or it would. So,
yeah, no, it has a lot of potential for sure. I would say more so than wish listing, we need to leave comments for this one. Like wish list to support the developer for sure. But until they confirm that they're doing a VR version of it, we need to be telling them to do a VR version of it on every social post, on their Discord. Make some noise, and not just for the developer either. Go to Bloomhouse Games, the publisher. Let the publisher know that you want this in VR, and you want all of their games in VR. Games like Sleep Awake, for example, would be great in VR. So make some noise. Let them know. And for those of you who are PC gamers and are thinking about playing this with UEVR, give it a little time. The profile isn't perfect yet. The game just came out. So there were things I had to work around, like the UI didn't show up in headset. So anytime there was something I needed to read or things of that nature, I had to lift my headset up and look at the monitor. The 6th profile wasn't perfect yet either, but there are people in there that are playing this game today and working all that shit out. So a week from now, it should be pretty solid. But just be aware of that. Don't go picking it up thinking you're going to get this awesome experience. It's playable today for sure, but it'll definitely be better over time.
And feel free to let them know that we were talking about them. Yeah, let them know that over on Gamescast Live, these people who have played the game think it would be perfect for VR. They think it would be one of the best VR games of the generation. We can exaggerate. Why not?
We both bought a copy of it, so we have the right to tell them to do shit.
Yeah,
make it
that's
VR.
How this works. That's how this works, right? Tell them what to do. We're gonna blast through some tips here, guys. Thank you so much for your patience. Hopefully we didn't miss any, considering what happened today. Andrew Ehrenreich with the $5 says, today I looked a frog and explored a temple. Then I blew up a Soviet tank with an RC car, and after that I played for some VR games. These are all things, by the way, you can do in Wanderer. So if you think there aren't any good built from the ground up for VR games anymore, go play Wanderer. Wanderer's a good time.
Spoiler alert, by the way. You just spoiled like the most complicated puzzle in the game. So don't read it or don't listen to it. Anybody, if you're hearing this now and say, what did he say? Don't worry about it. Don't see what he said. Everybody look at the screen.
I need one of those Men in Black things because all I can do is just spray them like cats right now.
That puzzle stumped me for probably 15, 20 minutes the first time I played through that game. I was so fucking lost and didn't know what to do at that part. And eventually I figured it out. But yeah, it did not occur to me. They've actually dropped hints in like the new game. There are hints now to tell you what to do at that part. Those hints weren't there in the original, or if they did, they went way over my head.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people were like, "Listen, these puzzles are great, but what are we fucking supposed to do?" It's a lot. Like not most of them. A lot of them are fairly reasonable, but some of them start bordering on like old Lucasfilm style adventure, point and click puzzles. It's craziness.
Yeah. That puzzle stumped me, and I was so delighted when I figured it out. It was so great. Like it was frustrating, but it was so gratifying after I finally did what you needed to do. That and the pump house puzzle, which is just an absolutely huge thing that you have to go from place to place, doing things to make it work out. That one stumped me for a while too. Those are the ones that I recall. The Tesla level was a little bit.
Yeah,
I had to take a little pause on that one, but I got through it after a little bit of thought.
Oof, yeah, some of those were real difficult. And especially because they give you so much freedom to like go and explore other areas and whatever. You're like, do I even have everything I need to be able to finish this area? And then of course when you're playing it and it's buggy, you're like, is this game broken?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gamecato with the Australian $20. Thank you, Gamecato. Says, best news ever. I get so excited watching Jammy's Forefront videos. Gamecat Army and Gamecat Ops is a game changer. Without Parole is going to become even more essential and bigger as Quest users migrate over to PSVR2. Go Gamecats! I hope that's how he meant it to be read. I don't think we're gonna have. Geez, I feel like people's loyalties are just like cemented. You're like, no, like I think you can only say fuck wires for so long before you're just like, even if Quest, even if Meta went under tomorrow, I don't think we'd see a huge migration of Quest gamers over to here. But that's just my perception.
No, it would take major first party support to have anybody migrate in from other VR platforms at this point. I'm not sure that being the best place to play cross-platform third-party titles is enough to make people migrate. It will some people, but not significant numbers.
Listen, if Sony announced Uncharted VR, if Sony announced Ghost of Tsushima VR, they announced God of War VR, right? Game changer, absolute game changer, and I think it would move the needle enough to make it worthwhile. But it's, you know, even in the PSVR1 era, they weren't willing to do that, right? They gave us Blood and Truth. It was like, well, what IP is that associated with, right? PlayStation VR Worlds. They gave us, I mean, fortunately, they gave us things like Wipeout, which was a pretty big get.
Well, PSVR won the first gen because of those titles. Even though they weren't major IPs, those were the titles that made that library the best library in VR at that time.
Agreed.
And I said it earlier, and I mean it. Like, I think one of the biggest mistakes that Sony made this generation is not bringing that catalog along, because that's what Quest has. That's what Steam has that PSVR doesn't have, is that they have their library, and it's their library from 2016 onward, where us, you know, it's from 2023 onward, and all of those old great classics are lost in limbo. Like if we had Astrobot and Farpoint and Blood and Truth and all of those games, The Here They Lies and Rush of Blood and all of those great exclusives from Gen 1 were just the foundation that Gen 2 was building on, then I think it would have made a big difference. And even today, and who's buying in, what platform they go to, like,
yeah.
And it's not too late. Like, obviously, we could see an initiative to bring some of those titles along in the second half of the generation, but I think it's a big, maybe just as big a mistake as the pricing was on launch. I think not having that catalog, it was a significant thing.
Yeah. No, I agree. I absolutely agree. Right. And then there's the games that like are just never going to make it here. You know, without backwards compatibility, we're just never going to see Immortal Legacy on PSVR2 unless somebody figures out who the fuck made that game and buys the rights to it and gives it to me for my birthday one day. Yep.
One of these days, Brian.
But you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Wes. That's why I had no qualms buying a Switch 2 at launch. Right? Because not because it had an amazing launch library, but because it had thousands of games. And for all the physical collectors out there, there's a lot of physical Switch games, and it's one of the biggest physical libraries out there, right? And so it's I had no qualms about getting a Switch 2 at launch because I was like, Switch 2 library will come eventually. This is a bigger screen for me to play my Switch 1 games on. You know, better performing sometimes as well. So, yeah. Okay, holy crap, dude, we got to keep moving. We got Not Sure Brondo with the $10 says, for a couple extra pizza toppings. Thank you so much for your generosity, Brondo. I will definitely be able to. I won't even want to tell you what I'm eating these days. It's not pizza, sadly. It's a lot of rice and a lot of veggies. Trying to lose weight again. Yeah, it is.
Apparently, pepperoni is horrible for him.
Did you say apparently?
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is like
I'm-
saying
I'm going-
smoking and heroin is also bad for you. Oh my God. I just found out.
I'm going by my blood work, like less pizza, and all of a sudden I'm not having a heart attack. It's amazing.
Oh, good. Yeah. Don't have a heart attack. Enjoy responsibly. Sun WTF with the $5 says wishlist Wesday is happening. Yeah, we do need to start making this a segment. I didn't want to steal it from virtual strangers, but it does seem like we're being very effective when we do it live.
I love it. Our audience is, a percentile of the audience here on Without Parole, and we did it for all the right reasons. We were trying to support the developers out there, and so yeah, by all means, any of these types of initiatives that you see happening on my channel, please adopt them. I love it, and I'm very happy for it.
I just want to say we are up to 53 comments over on the PlayStation blog post. All of them in regards to PSVR2. All of them.
Beautiful. I love it. Keep going.
Yeah. Let's get it to 100 by tonight. By midnight. Let's get it to 100. We got what happened to the tip window? There it is. Grandpa's Barbecue or Gamecat with the Australian $5 says, pity we can't copy Sony into those posts, so Sony can consider money hatting some of these games. Reanimal. You would think Reanimal would be an easy win for Sony, right? An easy win for PSVR2. If they were just like, hey, here's $5,000, like get one person working on this for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like it's like one of these like really easy wins to be like also playable on PSVR2. You would think Sony would be interested in courting some of these developers and saying, just do it. Just do it. But you're right. It is a pity. Scalpel Doc, welcome to Level 3 membership. Thank you for your support. Oh, also, we'll see you at Gamecat Meetup. Sun WTF sent 5 Without Parole gift memberships. Thank you for your generosity. Silver Nexus with the $10 says, that's not the cold turkey with no warning for the ending of the show I wanted today. Yeah. Going off air for 5 minutes and continuing the show without you guys because we just wanted to talk to each other. Definitely not what he was referring to. Thanks, Silver Nexus. Ben L of the game.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to point out that through my experience of having many episodes that crash in the middle, like we did earlier, sometimes immediately after you end the live broadcast, the replay version will only show up until that point. But after the episode fully processes, when the chat gets added back into it, the whole episode will be there. So I'm not sure that will be the case for this one, but if it is, somebody might want to like comment or something on the episode just to let people know that the other half will be there shortly. It just takes a few minutes for YouTube to process through it.
Yeah, somebody should comment that. Maybe I should comment that.
Maybe Brian should get on there and comment and pin it, if that turns out to be the case, which sometimes it's ready immediately. It's just different.
We should do a practice episode every episode. We should do the whole show and then go live. I think we should do that every episode, and then it'll just be like, we already rehearsed these conversations. We know the points that didn't quite land properly. We know the ones that really resonated, right? And so I think we should do this every episode.
I agree.
Ben L of the Gamecat Army sent 5 Without Parole gift memberships. Thank you so much, Ben L, for your generosity. You guys are turning the whole chat green. I love you all so very much. Stuart Montgomery sent £2 with the emoji that reads, hold on a second, I always got to copy and paste. Pair character doing a shaka sign. A shaka sign? I don't know what a shaka sign is. Shaka sign with his hand saying, cool. Okay, you don't know either. That makes me feel
I know the shock. It's this. Oh, that's the shocker.
That's
I'm sorry.
the shocker. Yeah, one in the. Never mind. Prozac with $2. It says, I don't know a HOTUS from a PROTUS from my SCROTUS. I wish we read that one earlier. That's fantastic. You know who else doesn't? Silver Nexus with the $10 says, "Can we please get a 2026 without parole game awards show?" I mean, listen, I'll do my fucking best. There are so many things that would have to go right in order for that to happen. I think that the game awards that we do are some of the best things I've ever created in my entire life. And if you've ever listened to the music I create, you know why that was so easy for me to say. But it's just like, you know, high levels of like, you know, quality editing and animations, and especially when I'm able to work together with Perp Games to really create something special. However, we actually talked about doing one in December. This past December, we talked about it in like June or something, right? And then we got hit in October, in November, with just all of these games. And it was, I was working around the clock, and it was like, there was no time. There was no time to get in touch with developers about, you know, reveals. There was no time to, you know, script an hour-long show, which takes days and days and days. There was just no time to do any of that stuff. It was all editing all the time. So I don't know. I don't know. I will definitely I will make an effort to do it this year though, because I think it would be a lot of fun, especially since we didn't get to do one last year. When's your 2025 show going to be, Wes?
It is going to be somewhere between my next episode and the one after that.
Whoa.
I have no idea when it's ready. Yeah, it's difficult enough for me to get on and do a regular episode these days. But as we spoke about last week, off air, a lot of people are looking forward to it and invested in it. And even if it makes more sense to just skip it and go on, I'm not going to do that. We're going to do something for the 2025 show. Now, I do intend on scaling it back. It's not going to be its usual 12 to 14 hour monstrosity, but we will name the award winners. We will give away a shitload of games, and it is coming 2 episodes from now. What day, I don't know, but soon, hopefully.
See, better late than never. Go subscribe to Wes over Virtual Strangers. Click the link in the description below, and be prepared for that. Giveaways, awards, all sorts of shit. It's like these things tend to be like 12 hours long, right?
Yeah, well, longer. The last few years have been longer than that, but yeah, they're usually very, very long. We're going to try not to do that this time, but essentially because I don't have time to prep a 14-hour episode. So yeah, we may drop some of the award categories, and or if we don't drop the categories, what we may do is just name the winners without a lot of discussion. Like usually we discuss at length every nominee. Like every game gets a 5 to 10 minute segment where we talk in detail about the game. We don't have time to do that this year. So maybe some of the smaller categories we'll just name the nominees, name the winner, and then move on. And then like maybe every third category gets a full segment or something like that.
Yeah, it's exhausting. Yeah, even during the last award show that I did, it cut to me just like an absolute mess. Like it was like hours before we were supposed to go, before the show was supposed to go live, and I just rambled through like 5-10 categories and just said, "Here are the nominees, here are the winners." I was like, if fucking Jeff Keighley can do it, so can I.
Right,
yeah.
right.
In response to what we said earlier about people coming over from Quest, Tim Tastic in the chat said, "I went from Quest to PSVR2. The Quest 3 lenses are super clear." I agree. "But the high quality games are all on PSVR2, and I've already spent more money on PlayStation games." Welcome to the family, Tim. I don't know how long ago that happened, but glad to see you here. We got Bonjour Miller with the $5 says, "Wes, we want," that was all one word, "Wes, we want PS Move games." Oh my God. "We want PlayStation Move games." What's he's saying? The fight. Was it the Lights Out game? It was like the.
I don't know. I'm not super familiar with the Move games. As I stated before, it was that generation where I fell off from gaming. Like I wasn't a gamer outside of retro games when VR came along. Like I had fallen away from it. All of the games had seemed like the same game was getting made a lot. And I've come to discover since then that during that PS3 generation, that might have been the best generation for first party Sony titles and second party Sony titles ever. But I had already fallen off. Like at the beginning of that generation, I tuned out. I'm a little bit familiar with the Move games because I did pick one up like years later for my kids to play around with. And then even later still, like I bought some of those Move kits just to get the Move controllers out of them. Like I had like 4 or 6 Move controllers around here during the early days of PSVR2. But so I don't know. I couldn't tell you anything specifically about those games. I remember the Little Big Planet game just because of the bundles that I bought that had the game included. There was a pet, like a virtual pet.
Yeah, iPad,
game
was it?
iPad, yeah,
iPad. Yeah.
But that's about the extent of my memory with regard to Move titles.
Yeah, he's saying The Fight, Sports Champions, Deadman's Quest, which was a nice little kind of light gun style shooter. Eye of Judgment. He said Eye of Judgment. PS2 was evolved PS1 and had iToy, PS3 iToy 2, and PS Move. This was tough to read. Bonjour Miller said VR was always the plan. Yeah, I mean, obviously, this was like the PlayStation Move was their first step into the VR arena, right? Kind of like the more immersive style gaming. I think a lot of people said, "Oh, this is just ripping off the Wii," and it kind of was, right? But some of the stuff they were doing was very, very cool. I think I'm going to get demonetized because of this trailer. I think every time I use this PlayStation Move trailer, Sony goes, our money now. It's like, okay. Holy crap, are we caught up with tips? We're caught up with tips. All right. You know what that means? We got to do a 4-minute challenge. You ready to do a 4-minute challenge?
Quickly.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's do it. All right. I've got a game picked out, and Wes over here and you guys out there, you've only got 4 minutes, but an infinite number of yes or no questions to figure out what game I'm thinking of. It could be PSVR 1, it could be PSVR 2. So ask questions in the chat, and then based on the responses you get, suggest games that it might be.
Word, Scott. House of the Dead.
Oh yeah,
I remember that.
Yep. Oh, so good, so good. There were and we got like 3 of them, I think, on PlayStation Move. So good. All right, on your mark, get Des. Go.
Is this a PSVR 2 game?
Yes.
Is it a PSVR 1 game?
No.
Okay. Is it a Steam VR game?
Yes.
Is it a Quest game?
Yes.
All right. So a modern game on all platforms. Okay. Is it first person?
Yes.
Is there combat?
Yes.
Shooting?
That's not what you would think of when you think of this game.
Melee combat then?
Yes.
So it's a melee game with some shooting. Is it?
Don't even think of shooting.
Okay. Is it developed by Skydance Interactive?
I think there's something in the water. Why are these games ending so fast? Yes, it is developed by Skydance Interactive.
Are there zombies?
No.
That's not okay. Is it Behemoth, Brian?
It is in fact Behemoth on PSVR 2. Holy crap, that was really, really fast. It's coming out December 5th, 2024. Good job, you guys. Wow. Listen, I kind of needed to give you.
I didn't even read the chat this time, Brian. I just had you from the first moment.
Yeah, well, I think I guessed Monday's game before we started the game, so this was a close second. Holy crap!
Well, that reminds me. There was one time that, like when it was 20 questions, where I had it on like the 3rd question, but I didn't break the record because I think Dave had guessed 1 in 3, and I wanted to be sure before I said the answer, so I asked one more question, and I got it in like 4. But that happens sometimes, man. Sometimes we're just on the same wavelength, and it's unexplainable, but here we are.
We actually lost our, despite the fact that I guessed the game before the game began on Monday, AJ picked another one last second, and then and I didn't guess it. Ruined our winning streak. We're up to like 14 or 17 or something crazy. I forget what it was.
You broke the streak? Yeah. Well, I think that was, I think it was a new record, right? Like, assuming that that with Miles on Friday was a win, that should have been the new record, if I'm not mistaken.
It was indeed. And I think we beat our old record by 1.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and then and so like we just need to get back on track. I didn't want to go too obscure, too crazy, because I was like, we needed a win after Monday's loss. We needed a win. So, all right, we got to wrap this thing up, guys. Thank you. What do you got for us?
I was going to ask Looper how like in terms of time, like there's records, right, for quickest. Like, what's the record for the quickest one? Did I just do it, or has someone else gotten one even faster? Dun, dun, dun.
Stay tuned for Looper's response.
Yeah. You can go on, Brian. I'm sure Looper will answer.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much for everybody for being here today. Thanks for your patience during the technical online outage and our, recollection of it after the fact. You guys are all the best. Thanks for your support, whether it's financially over here by being a member or tipping during the show, or over on patreon.com/withoutparolegames. Get your name on that little scroll down below. We thank you very much. You're keeping the lights on. You're keeping me doing this, loving what I do, and getting to do it full time. My entire mission for 2026, you guys, is Gamecat Ops. It is getting games to PSVR2 that we would not get otherwise. It is, let's do it, man. Like, be part of that movement. At the end of the year, I can't wait to look back at the channel, at the Discord, and say, these are all the games we got because we were so vocal, because we were a passionate group of VR gamers, because we told developers what we wanted. We are making a difference, right? So let's continue. It's only February. It's only February, and we've already made a couple things happen. Imagine what else we can make happen.
It works. It's right? Working. It's working. Forefront is proof positive. V-Racer Hoverbike is proof positive. And Unmourned. It works.
So Unmourned is proof positive, right? And who knows, maybe tomorrow we'll get to say Requiem is proof positive. But holy crap. I'm at 50-50 with that announcement tomorrow. Where are you at with it, Wes?
I'm sorry. What was the game again? I didn't catch what you said.
Resident Evil. I'm at 50-50 with it being announced tomorrow.
Yeah, I think 50-50 is a good place to be. I've always maintained that VR support is coming. Like I'm very confident that we will get VR support for this game. Will it be announced tomorrow? I agree with what you said last week. I think this is the most logical place for that announcement to be made. Yep. It makes the most sense. So if it doesn't happen tomorrow, it might be a while before we get it. But yeah, I think 50-50 at worst. Like I may even be like 60-40, leaning toward it being announced tomorrow.
Oh shit! I forgot I was going to talk more shit about AJ. Is AJ still here? On Monday's show, I was talking about the hype button. I was like telling everybody, I was like, make sure you like the video, hype the video if you're able to. I still don't have the option to hype videos. And I was joking. I was like, man, people are still sending me screenshots. They're DMing me screenshots of where the hype button is on their app or on their PC. And I'm like, no, I get it, guys. I get it, right? I know where the hype button is because I've seen 1,000 screenshots of it. I know, like, comments, you scroll to the right. Yeah, guess what AJ fucking did after Monday's show? He sent me a goddamn screenshot of where the hype button is supposed to be. And I'm like, bro, I know. We literally had this conversation on GamesCast that, like, it's just not, I don't have it yet. I know where it's supposed to be. Fucking AJ. Good thing I love him.
It is, yeah, it is a beta feature, so not everyone has it yet. Only the beta males.
Only the beta males. Us alpha males don't have no fucking hype buttons. Let me show you how to sit in a seat like an alpha male.
For what it's worth, Looper says that the time that Dave gave away Robinson in 4 questions was also the quickest at 23 seconds.
Oh, I guarantee you it had something to do with does it have move support? And then he was like, "Oh, well, it seems like it should."
That's exactly it.
Right. That's it. Miss you, Dave. All right, you guys, time to get out of here. Thank you, everybody, for your support, financially, non-financially, just being here, being part of the community. Make sure you come join our Discord, be part of the Gamecat Ops movement. Go subscribe to Wes over at Virtual Strangers. The link for that is in the description below. And make sure you join me and Jammy Hero for tomorrow. Come watch State of Play with us. 60-plus minutes. It's going to be a good one. Happy Wesday, Wes.
Happy Wesday, Brian. Happy Wesday, cats. Go leave a comment on the blog post now.
Let's go. We did not forget that we need to take a look back at Without Parole history before we take off. And I think we're not going to go too far back, Wes. History. Also, is Twisted Metal a hybrid? So much to unpack here, but let's make it fast. Sony ain't planning shit.
Nope.
Sony didn't do shit. I don't even think, if I remember correctly, did they even do a PlayStation VR2 spotlight? I don't even think they lined that up properly. So here we are on the precipice of the 3-year anniversary, right? Which is just about a week or two away, and I don't think we're going to see
2 weeks.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so either. I'd be delighted to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't think we'll see much. Maybe they'll give us a blog post. I think we'll get a shout out on social media or something like happy birthday. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there'll be much. And that Twisted Metal game, that never came out, did it?
No, it never even got announced. I think there were a lot of rumors. I don't think there was maybe nothing concrete. But it seemed like it was it seemed like it was like there was, I can't remember what it was that made us all think that it was a Twisted Metal game and it was in active development.
Yeah, it was a Twisted Metal game. People were speculating that it would come out around the time of that show, maybe, or in support of that show. And the studio that was supposedly working on it was
it Firesprite?
Yeah, Firesprite was supposedly the one that that was the game Firesprite was supposedly working on. They said that they were working on a globally recognized IP or something to that effect, and people put like 2 and 2 together and assumed that Firesprite was the team behind the Twisted Metal game. And who knows? Maybe it's still in development, and maybe it is a hybrid game, and maybe we'll see it tomorrow on the State of Play.
Except, I'm just quickly bringing this up here. I think what it ended up being, what that ended up being specifically, that rumor was, or that statement from them, was that they were working on a Star Citizen game. It's even listed on their website. You can go to firesprite.com and go to their games tab, and you can actually see that they were working on Star Citizen, but then you click on it, and I believe it says no longer in, here it is, theater, Star Citizen Theaters of War is no longer presently in development at Firesprite. So I think that's what that was referring to, but then it never happened. It never even,
Didn't Star Citizen just get like official VR support? Am I wrong about that? Like on PC?
Yeah, I think it did.
So maybe that's what they were working on, was to bring that to PlayStation.
Yeah. I don't even know what this Theater of War thing is. It's I'd have to read through it, but we want. So hold on, real quick. Delivering in the line of vision of a combined arms mode within Star Citizen universe, Firesprite collaborated closely with Cloud Imperium to create and develop Theaters of War, an intense combined arms combat split into distinct phases, with teams of attackers and defenders fighting for control over multiple objectives on the planet's surface in the early phases, with infantry vehicular combat before taking the battle to the upper atmosphere for control of a facility in a geostationary orbit. There's even a couple screenshots here, which is crazy. But man, with their background in VR, doing Persistence and Call of the Mountain.
Jesus, man, why don't we have Persistence on freaking PSVR2?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's insanity, But Order One might come along and eat their lunch. So fucking
Yeah, order one within of what, $400 of their Kickstarter goal now. Someone said in the chat.
nice.
And Tatum in the chat says that the Twisted Metal game was one of the live service games that got canceled.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Who's saying? We don't need to talk anymore about Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal was awesome. We missed Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal would be a great VR game. End of story.
Love it. Yeah.
And final shout out before we close down. Gamecat Ops sent 5 more without parole gift memberships. Thank you again. Continued generosity. We appreciate it. That's it. Let's get out of here. Good night, everybody. We love you all.
Love you. Bye.